Welcome to Into the Mind of a Madman. You are now rocking with me, the Madman, and the conversation I would like to have with you today is another gender wars conversation. Who brings what to the table? I've seen this conversation being had a lot around different podcasts. I have this conversation with a lot of different females. And I most recently had this conversation with my wife. And throughout listening to multiple people, multiple platforms, and now my wife, I actually understand the disconnect between men and women in this conversation. And the conversation of disconnect is more so one of the wording, the word choice used in conversation, and the fact that there is an actual conversation of who brings what to the table. Now, before I kind of make sense of what that is, I must first create context to the people who are having the conversation. Because the main disconnect is, I believe females feel offended just by you asking them what do they bring to the table. Right? Now, back in the day, I'm 40 now, right? I'm about to be 40 in a couple months. There was a time when I grew up, the elders who taught me, the men in my life, the men who I look to, the energy of what I grew up in, there wasn't a lot of direct conversation. There was a lot of energy conversations. When you dealt with somebody, you dealt with them off energy, the mood of the situation. Now we whether it's right or wrong, and a lot of the times now in 2024, it's coming out that a lot of people withheld or moved off of energy they felt was there, and somebody didn't actually verbally indicate that that energy was what that they wanted to give off. So now we are coming in we're coming into a society where it's no longer acceptable to just move off the energy. It's more so we need verbal confirmation every step of the way to now make everybody feel comfortable. Growing up, when I took a girl on a date, when I talked to a girl, or we were in the presence of a female, a man, it was more so frowned upon if you had to say your intentions. You were kind of perceived to be much more smoother if you can make a girl feel comfortable, and by her energy, her interaction, you and her laughing, your engagement by the conversation, that you kind of moved off of that, and whether it was you going in for a kiss, you putting your arm around a woman, you touching a woman in any type of way, on a leg, on a knee, or on a shoulder, on a face, whatever the mood called for, it was a gradual progression of touching, of conversations you can have, of the energy being exchanged, that we you it was understood that if it was acceptable, she if it wasn't acceptable, she would tell you to stop or say no. Anything outside of that, and if I put my arm around a girl's shoulders or whatever, and she kind of leaned into it, or she didn't say anything, she was cool with it. Now, the what I would say, the knowledge or the test run or the what is it? The trial and error of it was the ability to be around multiple women, to be around multiple people, and kind of it. You gained a a sense of being around multiple people. You gained a sense of what was acceptable or not. You kind of read body language. And what's happening today in 2024, a lot of the generations now, the kids now, they're losing the in-person interaction interactions with people to even gain the skill of filling out an energy and learning, okay, now that I did this or said this, this changed the mood in a good or bad way, and I'm now recognizing that. These kids are growing up in these iPads, watching TV, in these computers on their phone. They're growing up talking to each other through these apps like Roblox or any any of these games. They're growing up on social media. The real interaction you got by being outside and really interacting with different kids and learning that, okay, this might be okay for Jill, but this is not okay for Stacy. They're losing that. So now when they get older and they are trying to get a girlfriend or boyfriend, this is not really a gender wars type of thing where headed with it. When you're interacting, you're losing that skill set. That's one part of it. The second part of it is with all the Me Too movement, with all the toxicity of, let's say, the 80s, the 90s, the early 2000s, the 2010s, now moving into the 2024s and beyond, the 20s and beyond, the lot of toxicity, a lot of the movements now, the Me Too movements, they are a lot of these actions are being frowned upon. We are learned that it wasn't always right to just assume somebody was cool with something. Now we need verbal confirmation. So now that is creating a direct, blunt conversation. When growing up, when I was dating and you took a girl out, you talked to a girl over the phone, it wasn't a direct conversation of what do you bring to the table? What do you have that can benefit me? It was, let me see what you're reading. Let me see what you like on TV. Let me see what you enjoy. What do you see yourself being in 5 to 10 years? And by me talking to you and by me actually going out with you and seeing what type of fun you like to have, what type of personality you like to have, what how you treat me, how you treat the waiters at the restaurant, how you treat your friends, how you treat how you carry yourself when we're in the club, when we're out drinking. All of these things we watched and we took note, mental note to say, okay, this woman moves like this in this setting. This is how she keeps her house. This is how she talks to her boss. This is the type of relationship she has with her family. This type of relationship she has with her friends. We took all mental notes, and this is how we characterized what this woman offered, what this man offered, to now we decide, okay, I can be with this person for a long term. I can be with this person in a relationship. I can be with this person just sexually. I can be with this person and have a kid with this person. I could be with this person and marry this person. That was all past times. Now, the disconnect of the conversation of the 2020s, what is it, Gen X and Gen Zs or whatever it may be, and Gen Alphas, whatever the future is, everything culminating to a blunt, what do you do for me conversation. There's no more assumptions. There's no more vibes. There's no more skill set of just knowing the energy of people. It's these kids are not having but so many personal interactions. They go to school, they go home, they're on their games, they're on social media, they're losing all of these things that creates a skill set, creates a personality, creates a vibe and an energy. So now, like I said, we moving into a time where we're moving into a time where the kids are learning from these podcasts. They're learning from these Instagram reels, these YouTube shorts, these conversations on these podcasts, where now there's a lot of gender wars happening, and they're taking this out into the real world to where it's the men are the prize, the women are the prize, and nobody wants to be taken advantage of. Nobody wants to be looked at as a simp. Nobody wants to be used for their money. People, the communication is breaking. The communication is lost because we are no longer in it for getting to know and being hurt. We are in it for, no, this is what I want. It's these relationships, these conversations, these interactions are more so based on I do for you if you can do something for me. It's very was it it's very it's very much for the exchange of goods and services. And that is the biggest disconnect when we decide who brings what to the table. We the what I've come to understand when I'm having these conversations with these women is the fact that they may believe they are the table. I may believe I'm the home. That if the woman wants to be the table, She wants to be the couch. She wants to be the TV. You could be any furniture appliance you want to be. What I'm saying to you is the conversation that men want to have is, if you expect me to have A, B, C, and D, what do you have to complement A, B, C, and D outside of your physical appearance, the physical nature of a sexual relationship? Now, when we start really discussing that, that's when we'll have a greater conversation. But like I said, in 2024, when both sides of the exchange aren't looking to be used for their money, they aren't looking to be used for their skill set, they aren't looking to fit the traditional, stereotypical gender roles, now it's up to us moving forward and to teach the youth and to put out in these podcasts like I'm doing now. It's up for us to actually put out what the standard should be, or how to actually have a healthy conversation so you can match with your potential life mate. We can't continue to be stuck on the transactional piece to our interactions. The gender wars between men and women in 2024, to me, overall, is more so content based. I think a lot of this is built on the content of it, because now everybody has a podcast, everybody has a show. I have a little show that I'm putting out, you know what I'm saying? So everybody is talking about these things for content, because I believe most people in their everyday walk of life, who they come in contact with, do not cross paths with certain people. Like me, I live in Charlotte, North Carolina. Whether I make six figures, or I make $60,000, or I make seven figures, me simply being in Charlotte, North Carolina, to where this is where I make my money, will not put me in a spot where I may meet some of these certain women who requires a certain lifestyle, and vice versa. So I will only have these feelings in these conversations of, I deserve a certain echelon of women, or a woman deserves a certain echelon of man, or who's not willing to provide that within the online space. These certain women who go after or want to be in the presence of certain men who can provide for them in a certain way without them having to bring a certain amount to the table. I will never cross their path. They will never cross my path, and their access to these men, they are within the city, within the social club, the atmosphere of those men who's willing to do that. So please, regular people with your regular 9 to 5, no matter what your pay scale is, please stop taking these internet conversations, bringing them into your real life, because you're dealing. If you make $60,000, I'm pretty sure most of you men who make $60,000 aren't around women who's making $250,000. Or you what I would say is you are a woman, you are around women who make $60,000 as well. And you don't need to be having a conversation of, well, what do you bring to the table? You need to be having a conversation of, can I bring you out? Can we go to Top Golf? Can we go bowling? Can we go to the play? Let's go to the movies. What are you reading? What do you like to cook? Can we go shopping? Can we go to I know a place where you can learn to cook. Let's go to Sip and Paint, and y'all go have common conversations. To now you're finding out this girl's personality. You're finding out this woman's likes and dislikes. Does she like to cook? Does she does does she want to cook? Does she want to learn to cook? Does she like kids? Do she want to take care of how many kids she want to have? Do she want to adopt? Whatever it is. You no longer have to have these internet conversations of what do she bring to the table. It is just general conversation, and you take notes. So now you're getting the same result without being so blunt. Because like I said, when you coming off, what do you do? What do you bring to the table? You're coming off as very on the offense, as somebody is trying to use you for something. And most of the time, you ain't really making enough to be used in 2024 anyway. We need to be coming together to bring these funds together, because we see the prices. We see how much housing is costing. We see how much groceries is costing. So you kind of, men and women, you kind of can batten your own happiness by directness of your conversation. We need to have more riz, as they're saying today. And it's charisma, personality, smoothness. Listen to some R&B and like listen to some 90s R&B and start learning how to talk to each other. Learning the energy of each other. Ladies, and this goes for lady and men, because like I said, I believe the disconnect is in the wording of the conversation. The disconnect is in the skill set of just personal interaction, both on both sides, men and women. We're not used to, well, not me, but the generation now is not used to just gathering information organically. They're used to watching these shows and thinking, this is how we are supposed to talk to each other with these bluntness. Now, like I said, with all of the movements, and we don't want to offend nobody, and we don't want to do something that'll later come back and say, well, I was persuaded or forced or whatever. Yes, we do need to find a more smoother, a more cooler way to get consent, or and it not be so awkward and feeling like I have to be so blunt and direct. And we just got to start giving grace to people's intentions, giving grace to to people's what is it, uh to a person's how they grew up, how they viewing life, because they not the intentions of it. It's like, I'm not used to this, so please just grant me the grace to. I'm trying to say this. This is how I want to come off. Not the intent of it. It's like, I'm not. I said the intent. I'm more so speaking to the if I only know how to do it like in a rough way, help me be smoother about it. And let's not be stuck on the wording, and let's kind of go, okay, I know what you want to say, and I know who you may not have been around enough people to be smooth about what you're saying, or to be skilled, to be as articulate in saying what you want to say. So I'll give you the grace, and look, say it like this, or and on that. Like, that's what we need to work on together. And we'll we don't the table. We all bring something to the table. We all are the table. We all are the house. We all are the materials. All we want to know is that we're being treated right. And let's just have a healthier conversation about it. If you understand what they are trying to say, what they are getting at, yes, correct them and say, hey, it's a better way to say, it's a better way to convey what you want to say. And with that being said, I thank you for rocking with me. I'm out. Peace. Love you.